Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Zo Ordinary, aka just Ordinary. So Mihawk is going to fight Fujitora, and let me explain why this is the only possible outcome. As consumers of One Piece, we are all well aware of Mihawk's serious yet very relaxed personality. His main goal is to be able to fight a swordsman that is worthy of acquiring the title of the world's strongest swordsman. But something that Mihawk wants just as much is being able to live in peace without the nuisance of being chased and bothered all the time. Since he met Zoro, Mihawk has only left his home out of necessity and not out of the desire to do so. So if you take away the ability for Mihawk to live in peace, you not only annoy the world's strongest swordsman, but you also motivate him to strive for that peace again. And that is exactly what Fujitora has done. As someone who despised the warlord system, he was the main supporter for its abolishment. And rightfully so. You had pirates like Doflamingo, Crocodile, and Gecko Moria who have time and time again used the warlord system to fund rebellions, exploit the land, and even kill innocent civilians. But you had pirates like Jinbei, Kuma, and Mihawk who didn't actually get involved in much illegal activity, you could say. Instead of Fujitora blaming some of the warlords, he blamed the entire system and wanted to get rid of all of the warlords. And it was further emphasized when the warlord system was abolished. Didn't matter if you were good or bad, or just minded your own business, the Marines went after you. While it's not exactly being enough for Mihawk to pursue him, I think it's enough for him to take the opportunity to face him if the chance is presented. And that is where the Cross Guild comes in. Not only does being the second-hand man to Buggy sort of give the same perks he got as a warlord, which in this case is being able to live in peace. And of course, it's not to the extent of peace he was living in when he was a warlord, where Marines would leave him alone and pirates would not dare to mess with him. But it's better than being chased around 24/7. But the Cross Guild also gives an incentive to hunt down Marines, even big shots like Vice Admirals and Admirals, and also drastically increases the chances of him encountering an Admiral, which I'm assuming will be Fujitora in this case. I see this being the perfect setup for Mihawk and Fujitora to fight. Now if we look at it from a story standpoint, it only makes sense for it to be Fujitora because it doesn't make sense for Mihawk to fight Akainu, Kizaru, or Green Bull, who are already set to become the antagonists to the Straw Hats, while Fujitora has sort of been the odd one out, and has been speculated to be a part of Sword. I truly think Fujitora by the final war will not be on the world government side, but rather on the Straw Hat side, aka the good side. If Mihawk were to fight the other three admirals, it would then mean that A, Mihawk would have to lose, or B, it would have to be a stalemate, which in both cases in a way tarnishes Mihawk and the title of the world's strongest swordsman. Why I say that is because Mihawk sadly throughout the series has had a lack of feats that we as readers can base his strength off of. And yes, we have had a couple moments where he was gassed up, like when Shanks and Whitebeard had their encounter and Whitebeard had mentioned the legendary fight between Mihawk and Shanks, or when he was given a bounty of almost 3.6 billion berries just off of his strength alone and being the strongest swordsman, or in the same chapter as the bounty, chapter 1058, Mihawk might as well have said, I could be a Yonko, but I don't feel like it. With all these feats all together, it should have been clear that Mihawk is stronger than even someone like Shanks. But then we get panels like this, then panels like this, and then panels like this, which then makes us question what it really means to be the strongest swordsman in the world. For someone who supposedly had a legendary duel with Shanks, the physical evidence of him fighting is sort of underwhelming, in my opinion. I think that Mihawk needs to at least have one really good showing, and what's not better than Mihawk fighting Fujitora, a current Marine Admiral. And on top of being an Admiral, he's a top tier swordsman. You can easily put him in the top 5 current strongest swordsmen, making it more fitting for him to fight Fujitora than anyone else. In One Piece Stampede, in a way, we got a sneak peek of what it might look like if Fujitora and Mihawk fought. It would literally be a duel capable of wiping out an entire island. And by having Mihawk defeat him, not only would it reaffirm his strength to us as readers, but it would also give more weight to the title of the world's strongest swordsman. I can sort of in a way also see it being a good thing for Fujitora, giving him the ability to then retire from the Marines and join the good side during the final war. Now if for some reason Mihawk doesn't fight Fujitora, I'm very confident in the fact that the fight Mihawk will most likely have before his fated encounter with Zoro is going up against a Marine and not against a pirate. If we look at the notable pirates that are left over in the series, they all already have roles to play set by Oda, so for someone like Blackbeard, we know as readers, at the end of the day, Luffy Luffy will be the one to defeat him. As for someone like Kid or Law, the roles are to play as rivals to Luffy, and to have them defeated at the hands of Mihawk without any build-up would seem very forced. Unlike Law versus Blackbeard, which makes a lot of sense because both of them are going after the One Piece and both of them are part of the new generation. Which then leaves us with Shanks. We all know that is not happening unless Oda shows us the fight that they had back in the day, because Mihawk refuses to duel a one-armed Shanks, leaving us with pretty much no more noteworthy pirates for Mihawk to flex on. You could maybe make the argument for Kaido and Big Mom coming back, particularly Big Mom, but even if that were to happen, I highly doubt it would be to fight Mihawk. But who knows, I might be wrong. Imagine if we see Mihawk versus Kaido, that would literally be the fight of the century. I'd even put that over Blackbeard versus Luffy. Realistically though, we're pretty much left with the Marines. The Revolutionaries I don't think play a role in the Mihawk sort of storyline. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe we'll see Mihawk versus Dragon. The thing with someone like Mihawk is that as readers we put him on a really high pedestal, and rightfully so. He's the world's strongest swordsman. He fought Shanks. He deserves to fight the top guys in the verse. But for the sake of the story, it's hard to do that because you have guys like Akainu who are already set to fight Luffy or Sabo, and you have guys like Blackbeard who are already set to fight Luffy. And then where does that leave Mihawk? All you really have left is the admirals. You could maybe make a case for like someone like Aokiji, because we know Aokiji used to be an admiral but now he's a pirate. But the thing with the Cross Guild is they're meant to only hunt marines, and now that Aokiji isn't a marine, it doesn't make much sense for the Cross Guild to even pursue Aokiji, because it's been years since his duel against Akainu, and the world pretty much knows that Aokiji is no longer an admiral. My point is though, is not that I don't want to see these fights. Like I said, if I saw Kaido versus Mihawk, it would be the best fight in the series. If I saw Mihawk versus Akainu, probably an amazing fight. I want to see these fights and these matchups with Mihawk, and if anything, I want to see multiple matchups with Mihawk. But by the looks of it, we're already too close to the end of the series for there to be multiple duels with Mihawk. But for right now, I'm really betting on the Fujitora and Mihawk matchup, and I'm really hoping we get the Shanks versus Mihawk flashback, and I think that'll be just enough hype for Mihawk for when he finally encounters Zoro again for their final duel. Let me know in the comment section if you think Mihawk is going to fight anybody before he fights Zoro, and also let me know who you think that'll be, and peace out.